Hi, Kristen Solomon here, Court Liaison and Advocate for Right Turn Impact. Today I'm with the Law Office of Alpert Schreyer, Criminal Defense and Trial Attorneys located in Atlanta, Maryland. Today I'm meeting with Mr. Andrew Alpert to learn more about him and his practice and to see why he trusts Right Turn Impact for his clients. Let's go inside and talk with him. Hi, Mr. Alpert, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
How are
Thanks
you?
so much for having me.
Yeah, welcome. My name is Andrew Alpert, and I'm an attorney here in Maryland. So I've been practicing law since 1989. I was a prosecutor, started out as a prosecutor. I was a prosecutor in 2 different jurisdictions in the state of Maryland for 5 years. And then after that, I went into private practice. Here at the firm, we do basically 2 types of cases. We handle criminal defense work, and we also handle personal injury cases. My practice concentrates in criminal defense, and I have a specialty in DUI. First of all, I'm Maryland's only board-certified DUI attorney. I'm board-certified by the National College of DUI Defense, which is one of the premier organizations in America that trains DUI attorneys. I'm also board-certified by, at the same time, the American Bar Association for DUI.
Andy, why do you do what you do? Why criminal law?
I like helping people. I like helping a lot of people. I also believe in trying to change people's lives for the better. When I get involved with a client, it's not only just the court representation, but it's also more of a holistic approach to defending these cases. And if I can make a difference in someone's life, I like to do so. So my philosophy towards treatment is pretty simple. Everyone who comes into this office is going to have an evaluation. Everyone is going to go for treatment no matter what. And of course, the type of treatment might differ depending on whether it's a first offense, a second offense, third offense, but everyone is going to go for treatment. And treatment is a relative term. It could be alcohol education, which we call basic treatment in Maryland, or it could be more intensive type of a program. And often Right Turn is a more intensive approach to DUI cases, and it depends on that particular person, what their needs are, and what the requirements of the case are, depending upon the facts that they are presenting us with here at the office. Well, we try to ask pretty pointed questions of the clients when they come to us for intake for their cases. Try to probe what kind of problems or issues they may have, which will sort of frame what type of treatment we think is potentially going to be helpful to them. But I tell people all the time, I'm just meeting you for the first time generally. I don't know whether you have a problem or not. I suspect that you may need some alcohol education at a very basic level, or you might need some serious and significant intervention, which would be necessary. And so I provide them with all of the opportunities to avail themselves of the treatment. It's important because in Maryland we have to get mitigated before we go to court, which is a little bit unusual. A lot of other jurisdictions don't function that way. And so what I tell people is you have to deal with this up front. Secondly, even if I'm going to try your case, even if I think I can win your case, even if I think that the facts are so good, I'm saying don't worry, you have to go for treatment. Your treatment is like purchasing an insurance policy almost for court. And you need to have that insurance when you go to court so that if things don't go your way, then when you're standing before the judge, you know that you're protected. You've done everything that you could possibly do to get ready for court, and you've got all your mitigation together, and your mitigation package is then presented to the judge, and then the judge can make a decision based on the fact that you've in fact done mitigation. The judge isn't sitting there saying, why haven't you done anything in order to put yourself in a light most favorable to the court? Right Turn is a step up from an average, what I call the normal alcohol education program. And first of all, we start with the weekend intervention programs typically, and we send people to the weekend programs. And the reason why that's a step up is because you have to go to Right Turn and you have to stay at Right Turn, and then you get the programming that Right Turn then delivers. What's nice about that for clients is, number one, it's very eye-opening. A lot of clients say, I cannot believe that I've had this problem, and I just haven't dealt with it before, and it's nice to hear from other people who are sharing at the same time. But also because it's not disjointed, because it's for a significant period of time and they are taking time out of their lives to go and do this at another facility where they don't leave the facility, it can be much more impactful for people. The other reason why right turn is important is because a judge can give you credit for the time that you have actually been at right turn, whether that's a weekend, whether that's 5 weekends, whether that's a 10-day inpatient, whether that's a 30-day inpatient stay, or even further beyond that. You can get credit. And of course, it's discretionary with the judge, but often it's what we want to present to the court in certain cases that will be clearly much better for the client having gone to right turn than having not. And can oftentimes result in clients staying out of jail, which is better for society in lots of ways because people continue to work, they're able to help their families. A lot of people have been able to benefit significantly from the treatment that they get, and they go on to remain sober. And that's the goal. The goal is for clients, especially DUI clients, to remain sober and not reoffend. And that's why I think the bench in Maryland, the judges actually like the right turn program and are familiar with the right turn program. Well, what I hear from my clients who go to right turn is that in many instances it's changed their lives for the better. And they have gone there probably thinking they don't have a problem or that they don't want to deal with their problem, and they've come out completely transformed. And I hear it over and over and over again that people have been transformed by the program. And it's not like some of these programs you can go to that are, very cushy. This is not a cushy place. This is a bare bones facility that you go to, and you mix in with people that maybe you don't rub elbows with on a normal basis. But I think it's important to see people from all walks of life who are affected by addiction and who are affected by substance abuse. And substance abuse can come in many different forms. It can come in a form of alcohol, it can come in a form of drugs, it can come in a form of prescription medication. So, and all of them share common characteristics, and if you can learn how to deal with those common characteristics and receive the treatment and be open to benefiting from the program, it can really transform a life. When you come to our firm, we give you a plan, and it's a plan for court. And we tell you exactly what we think will put you in the best light for court, get you ready for that courtroom appearance. Because in Maryland, what happens is you get tickets, and then the next thing you know, you're going to your court date that you're going to resolve your case on, typically. So you have to get ready quickly. You have to know what to do. You have to follow our advice. So I can be stern when I'm trying to get the client to come into compliance so that they are protected when they go to court. The clients that are difficult, and I'm not saying that all my clients are perfectly compliant, because they're not. People have problems, people have substance issues, and they're not always as compliant as I would want them to be. But I put a lot of pressure on them to do what we tell them to do so that we can help them. There's very few programs available to the general populace, people who have money, people who don't have money, in Maryland, that are affordable and do what I call get the job done. Also, there's very few programs where the people can go and stay at the facility, which I think is important and can be significant to an outcome. So a lot of times you have clients who, for instance, multiple offenders, in other words, people who this is not their first rodeo and they're on their second DUI or their third DUI, and they're trying to come to grips with a significant problem. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to insert themselves into a program that's really going to sort of grab them by the lapels and make them, understand, hey, this is not, you're not going to be able to do this by some outpatient sort of, let's talk about it type situation, and a whole bunch of other people, and listening to some canned programming that's going on, because you've got a significant problem that you need to deal with and you need to come to grips with. As a client, if you surrender yourself to what Right Turn has to offer, you will come out a better person, no matter what. I always said that if I were ever to become a judge, that's the hardest job that there is, being a judge. Very difficult. It's much easier to be an advocate for someone than it is to sit and preside over people and try to figure out what the right sentence should be under the circumstances. And there are a lot of very, very, very thoughtful judges all over the state of Maryland that try very hard to fashion sentences for people. It's much easier for them if people have gone to programs like Right Turn, because in general, I don't think the bench wants to incarcerate people. I think what the bench would prefer to do is to correct behavior and not have people reoffend. But at the same time, some people have to go to jail in order to get the point, and that happens. Right Turn's sort of in that in between a program that's completely outpatient and a jail sentence. So it can have an effect on someone very similar in some ways to jail, because it's scary. You got to go there, you got to stay there, and you got to participate with people. But at the same time, it's not a waste of time. It's not simply you going, checking into the detention center and literally doing nothing the entire time you're there. So the programming is really what's important. And if I were a jurist, I would want to see significant programming. About 75% of all the clients that come through here for DUI are first offenders. But I don't know what kind of problem they have. And sometimes they don't know what kind of problem they have. So if you think about it, you can go through the basic classes, alcohol education classes, let's call it 12 hours of alcohol education, and think that you are okay. But as you just mentioned, they end up reoffending, and no one thinks they're going to reoffend. And so why are they reoffending? It's because they have to go deeper and they have a bigger problem. But they're fortunate because there are programs like Right Turn available to them which can really help them and change lives. And that's the important thing, that we're out here, we're changing lives, one client at a time. And I don't want any of my clients to come back to me as reoffenders. That's not the purpose of what I do. What I like to tell people is, look, here's the problem. The judges really never see the success stories. And so when I'm talking to a client, I say to a client, especially one that was a very difficult case, I might say to them, why don't you call me in a year and just pick up the phone and say, I just want to let you know that I'm doing really well. And not a lot of them take me up on it, but a few do. And I hear from some clients almost on a yearly basis saying, I'm still out here, I'm still clean, everything is great, I'm functioning well in society. And that's really the greatest joy that you get from doing this work, because you don't get too many opportunities in this world to change people's lives. And so I think I get opportunity all the time to change people's lives. I just hope that they take advantage of it. The case itself is a blip on the radar screen in their overall life, but the treatment should go on forever if you think about it, because if you've had a significant problem, especially with alcohol, you might be sober for 30 years, but in order to maintain that sobriety, you're going to have to work at it, typically, in order to avoid reoffending. And that's really the goal. And that should be the goal of everyone involved in the criminal justice system. prosecutors, the judges, the defense lawyers, the police, everyone. That's the goal of the criminal justice system. Without right turn, I'm fighting a battle with one arm tied behind my back, literally. If I don't have that option, if I don't have that in my toolbox, I'm having a very difficult time. If you're a first offender but you're going extremely fast, or you have a child in your car, or you've hit someone and you've hurt someone, you're not going to be handled the same way in court as someone who got pulled over for fairly innocuous traffic stop. You're going to be handled differently, and things are getting harder in the state of Maryland. And so if you don't go to a program that has some teeth to it, the judge is not going to be impressed by what you've done, and you won't get the outcome that you are looking for.